Welcome to Psalm 129. The Lord is just. Just to who? Pardon the pun. But he is just when it's concerning the sinners. That's what it's going to be talking about. It begins with the Ode of the Steps. This, I believe, is the 10th step. Started with Psalm 120. I'll read a little in the Greek. O thee ton anavathmon, pleonakis epolemisan me, ekneotitos mu, epato thee Israel. Many times they waged war against me from out of my youth. Let Israel say, who is the they and who is the me? Well, they, we'll find out in verse 3, are the sinners. And me is, I suppose, the writer of this psalm. Then Israel is another entity in this psalm. Israel was originally a man called Jacob, and he wrestled with God on his way back to Canaan, and God renamed him Israel. And so Israel has had war waged many times. The sinners, waged war against me from my youth. Well, if it was Israel or Jacob, then it began with Jacob and his mother Rachel deceiving the father Isaac into robbing the birthright from Jacob's brother Esau. This was in Genesis 27:41. And Esau wanted to kill Jacob. He hated him so much for the things that he did. So Jacob fled then and went into Mesopotamia to his uncle, his mother's brother. And this was in Genesis 31:29. And his uncle was named Laban. And Jacob married his two daughters and the concubines of the daughters, and had the 12 children, 12 tribes. And the problems then with Laban arose when he started doing so well that he became more wealthy than Laban. And Laban was jealous, and Jacob feared Laban, so he decided to take the family and go back to Canaan. And then when he fled, then Laban came after him and mentioned that he wanted to do him harm, kill him. And that was in Genesis 31. Then once he got into the land of Canaan, went to the, I'm trying to think, I can't think of the name of the city of the, but it was a city that was close to where they were living at the time. And one of the son, was he Amalekite? No, I don't think so. But the one son of these people that were not Jews in that area wanted to marry Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and had relations with her, I believe. I'm not sure. But then when the 12 brothers found out, they came back and they killed all the people in that city. And then Jacob cried out and said how bad they were causing him to be hated by all of the neighbors, all the Canaanites, and he'd have to do battle with them. And this was in Genesis 14:30-31. Then his second youngest son, Joseph, was sold into slavery by the 10 brothers, and then ended up with Jacob going into Egypt. And then after 400 years, they had millions of children, and then they went and left Egypt and went into the wilderness. And then we find out that they had to fight against the Amorites, King Sihon and Og in Deuteronomy 31:4. So now, if it was Israel and not Jacob, then that was the beginning of Israel's having to fight. Before that, God did the fighting against Egypt, and when they went across, when the Jews went across the Red Sea and dry land, the Egyptians followed, and they were swallowed up by the water and died. And then they were in the wilderness for 40 years until finally they went in to Canaan with Joshua. The Amorites that Moses fought with were to the what would be today would be south of the Palestinian area of the Gaza Strip. They were in the hill country. So then Joshua went in to the promised land of Canaan, and he fought all of the different peoples, the Canaanites, Jebusites, Amorites, Girgashites, all the ites. And so Israel began with war, just as it says here in 129:1. Many times they waged war against me from out of my youth, let Israel say. And then a second time, this could be the person, many times they waged war against me from out of my youth, and yet they were not able to, they were not able against me. They didn't succeed. The sinners, now we see where the people are that it mentions at the beginning, they. The sinners contrived upon my back against him. They prolonged, there's the they, prolonged their lawlessness. The sinners did. But the Lord is just. He cut down the necks of sinners. So this is the title, the Lord is just, and I mentioned coming against sinners. Now, we are all sinners, but yet somebody that is bowed their knee to Jesus and is walking with him the best a person can is going to find mercy. And justice would be if the judge was told that somebody did certain thing, then they would get so many years in jail, and that would be just. It wouldn't be anything but just. But mercy would be, instead of giving him the so many years, let's say there were 10, he gave him mercy and only gave him 5 years. And this is what us as Christians experience, I believe, with the Lord Jesus Christ as an intermediary between us and the Father, that we will be shown mercy. But not the sinner. They will feel the full force of God eventually, in front of not on this earth, in front of God in the judgment. And then in 5, it says, let them be shamed and be turned to the rear, that is the sinners, and all the ones detesting Zion. So now it jumps forward with Zion. Zion didn't become a place until David, King David, and it was the city of Zion, a citadel was Jerusalem. And then it says, let them, and I believe and that's the sinners, let them become as grass on roofs, which before being pulled out were dried. And they are not helping at all. It says, of which the one harvesting did not fill his hand, nor the one collecting together the sheaves unto his bosom. The sinners never helped Israel. And verse 8, and the ones passing by, the sinners, said not, the blessing of the Lord be upon you. We bless you in the name of the Lord. They never did that. Instead, the sinners, the countries around Israel, helped their foes to defeat them and were happy to see the Jews being taken away as captives. Psalm 130, the next video, the Lord will ransom Israel, and we have gone through that many times with the ransoming, paying a ransom, and Jesus paid the ransom for us Christians. We'll find out more about the ransom of Israel in the next video seminar. Hope you'll join us, and until then, God bless.